Good morning, everyone. My name is Keith. For those that don't know me, I'm part of the team here. I've been here a while now, 27 years. It's the second time they've asked me to preach. It has been 10 years, so I'll see you again in another 10 years after this. Space. We've been talking about space over the last couple of weeks. Rog did space and the vastness of space. Last week we had aliens in the building. Caroline talked about aliens. I get rocket fuel. I'm hoping that my presentation is going to come up on the back. George is going to be amazing and do some amazing tech work for me. Otherwise you'll have to keep looking at the back of my hair, and it is thinning at the back. I don't want anyone looking at the back of my hair. I thought we'd start off with some jokes. Yeah! I apologise now. I am a father, which means that they are dad jokes. So do bear with me. Why did the sun go to school? To get a little brighter. You see the calibre, you see the calibre. What do you call a tick on the moon? A lunatic. How do you organise a space party? You plan it. They're getting better, they're getting better. Why couldn't the astronaut book a hotel on the moon? Because it was full. It was a full moon. Okay, last one. What's an astronaut's favourite part of a computer? The space bar. Yeah. Sorry, just get everyone warmed up. There we go. Okay. So, rockets. Rockets are cool. I love rockets. I don't know if that's because they're big, because they're loud, because they're noisy, because they're smelly, and it reminds me of me. I don't know, just something about rockets. And you know, whenever there's a big rocket event, I remember at school, we turn the news on, you stop, everyone just stops and stares as this rocket goes up. But it's not just, you know, it's that big rumble, the countdown. There's something about rockets that really, I don't know, just makes me feel big and powerful and strong. Seeing the strength of this big block of metal that just flies up into the sky, and you're like, I still can't work out how it does it. It's just amazing to see things happen like this. But what is a rocket without fuel? A very expensive ornament. You take a rocket and don't fuel it, it's just going to sit there. It's not going to be noisy. It's not going to move. It's not going to fly. It's just going to stop and stare. So, this is why I think they're cool. Watch this.
Start, 2, 1, boost ignition, and liftoff of the Space Shuttle Discovery, returning to the space station, paving the way for future missions beyond.
That's cool. I don't know about you, but for me, seeing all the smoke, seeing all the fire, seeing the ignition of those elements come together. Now, fuel is so important for the rocket. Without fuel, it just sits there, it doesn't move, it just, it's not. But what is rocket fuel? Simple question, it's not rocket science. What is rocket fuel? Now, rocket fuel comes in 2 different states. Can anyone guess what kind of state rocket fuel comes in? Gas is incorrect. But it's a great answer, it's on the right lines. There's gas, there's also solid, and then liquid. So we have 2 kinds. We have our liquid. Now, we have very big words: petroleum, hypergol. Liquids. Liquids that are kept separate in the fuel tankers. They're separate, they're just elements just hanging out, just floating around having fun. And there's a point where they come together. And when they come together, they mix, a reaction happens. What I didn't know doing research is airplane fuel and rocket fuel is very different because, as Roger said, don't stand on that, sorry. Airplane fuel needs oxygen. So you have a reaction, and oxygen is part of that. That's why airplanes fly, because there's a reaction with oxygen. But there's no oxygen in space. So you have these chemicals that have to react, they have to mix together. And when they do that, we see what happens, we see this explosion. And the great thing about liquids is you can insert it together as and when you need it, which is how you get those little bursts when you see it flying. The other kind is solid. Solids are pre-made. Once you start the reaction on a solid set of fuel, there's no stopping it. That launch we just saw, that was a solid fuel igniting and then going. Because what you can't do is get halfway up and go, we pressed the wrong button, or there's not enough fuel. Once it starts, it is gone. It is powerful, it is explosive, and it is necessary. So, we know what fuels rockets. What fuels us? This is the question that I was asking myself. If I was a rocket, what would be my fuel? Is it be food? Would it be quiet time? What is it that fuels me? And it was very, very easy to decide what fuels me. Those who know me well, including my wife, who has banned me from drinking this, will know that I have a slight addiction to Pepsi, specifically Pepsi Cherry. Now, I'm going to make a statement that is going to divide the church. I'm sorry that the church might not recover from this. Pepsi tastes better than Coke. I know. I don't like the taste of Coke. It's too sweet, and the sugar-free and the zero calorie, it just doesn't for me. Pepsi tastes amazing. I have a spare can at the end. If anyone wants to doubt me, you can come and try it. It is amazing. And then it got me thinking. I drink a lot of this. I'm banned from drinking it during the week. I'm only allowed to drink it at weekends. That is a true story. I love Pepsi. I love the way it tastes. I love the way that when I drink it, even if I've drunk it now for 10, 15 years, it's my go-to. Having a bad day at work, Pepsi, but not at the week. Having a stressful day, or I'm tired, I need a little pick-me-up, this is my fuel. This is what gets me going. This is what makes me feel alive. Okay. The thing I love about Pepsi is that when you open the can, you get that noise. You know that first noise. Now I'm going to try this. This might work. Sorry, I need that. That noise. Once you hear that noise, it's like, oh, yes, there it is. That's what I need. But a comparative, just to show that it's not just a can drinking. Nothing against Euro Shopper, but here we have our 35p cola. I'm going to open it and just see if there's a difference. I'm hoping there's a difference. I don't know about you, but that didn't do it for me. That was just like, it's the same, but it's not the same. It's a good use of my time to drink it because it will nourish me to a certain point. It will give me some kind of substance, but it's not nourish. Yeah, there's no nourishment. It's not. I get it. As soon as I said it, I saw about half the people go, no. There's no nourishment in there. I get it. But it's what fuels me, Pepsi. It lifts me up and it has an effect on me. Is it going to make me survive? Is it going to, if I'm dehydrated, if I'm hungry, is it? No, it's not. But there's something about this Pepsi that not only fills my belly with a cold drink, but it also fills my heart a little bit as well. Does anyone know that? Is there a food that you have that you go to? Is there a drink? Is there something you go to that just makes you feel, makes you happy, goes to your happy place? So, if I'm the rocket, this is my fuel. You see where I'm starting to, you know where I'm going with this. Okay, so this is my human fuel. I'm the human, I'm not a rocket. I'm big and noisy like a rocket, but I'm a human. This is what fuels me. Yes. Sorry, I was just checking we've come to the right moment. It's the moment my children have been waiting for. Kind of a rocket morning without rockets. So, I've got 3 rockets. On the rocket, I've got the Bible verse broken down. I do need people that are good at catching rockets. So if there's anyone in the crowd that likes catching rockets, now would be the time to stand up. Anybody who is concerned about getting hit by rockets, please duck. I apologise now if it does hit you. They are soft rockets. Okay. Is everyone ready? I need someone to get it. I need it back. I need it back. Someone go get it. Get it, get it. Bear with me a second. It's an interval. Oh, yes. Thank you, Marlon. What does it say? What does that say? Deuteronomy. Very good. My favourite biblical word to say. Deuteronomy. Okay, Deuteronomy. Which chapter? Who's going to get this one? Are you ready? I'm going to aim for the girls. Ready, girls? Okay, now it should have something written on it. Deuteronomy chapter 8. Deuteronomy chapter 8. Okay, to the one person in the balcony. This worked in rehearsal. We're going to try. Jackie, is that Jackie? Ready? Yeah! Go on, Hannah. 2 to 3. So Deuteronomy chapter 8, verse 2 to 3. Okay. Remember how the Lord your God led you all the way in the wilderness these last 40 years. So, Israelites, 40 years in the desert. Moses writes this to remind them of where they've been, of what's happened to them. Thank you, Hannah. And to remind them of their covenant they made with God. So we're remembering the times and the things that happened to them. To humble and to test you in order to know that what was in your heart, whether or not you would keep his commands. He humbled you, causing you to hunger, and then feeding you with manna, which neither you nor your ancestors had known, to teach you that man does not live on bread alone, but on every word that comes from the mouth of the Lord. So here we've got this interesting idea that when we're hungry, when we need sustenance, when we need something in our tummy, when we need fueling, there's not just our human fuel, there's not just our bodies that we need to refuel, but there's also our spiritual side. And we have this playoff. When I'm hungry, my body tells me straight away. My tummy rumbles. I get irritable, I get a bit fatigued, I need something. My body is crying, and it's very easy because after a day or two, my body will very quickly start to have some issues. I'll start to know I'm hungry. But then you have spiritual starvation. Now, spiritual starvation might not appear straight away. It might be a slow manifestation. We might not know that we're starving our spiritual side. It might take a while for us to realize that our body is not getting the nourishment, it's not getting the spiritual investment that it needs. And how can this appear? Now, human hunger, body hunger, stomach pains, growling, fatigue, obvious. But when it comes to our spiritual starvation, sin, bad things, anger, irritability, bitterness, hatred, resentment, hopelessness, despair, envy. Ways in which that spiritual starvation can start to show itself, start to manifest. But we might not notice that. We might not realize that because there's other ways in which they can also come as well. But what we're not doing is fulfilling that starvation, that spiritual need. What we can do, sorry, I'm very burpy from that Pepsi, I'm so sorry. Didn't realise that. What can happen is these things can start to build over time and without realising, and just little by little, the more spiritually hungry we get, the more it can start to take hold on our life, start to creep in, and you might not notice it, other people might just start noticing it. And it's quite dangerous because before we know it, we could be starving to the point where we're no longer connected to the Spirit as we should, because we haven't strengthened that bond, we haven't fulfilled the need that we have as set out, that it's not just bread alone, but by the word. So, how do we refuel? How do we fulfill that? So, what fuels you? We've got physical, spiritual. There's two kinds of bread. We talk about bread quite a lot. Give us our daily bread. I like bread. Love bread. Oh, love bread. Can't eat it because it messes my stomach up, especially white bread. But I love a good sourdough, a good that one. Love a good granary, especially in the morning, gets you going. Where's my jam, people? Who's a jam in the morning? Peanut butter? Marmalade? Marmite? Get out. Get out. Butter or no butter? Butter. Just checking. Just check. Because peanut butter, I know people that do peanut butter without butter. Oh, you need to have the butter. So we talk about this daily bread, and we saw that God delivered bread as his manna. He fed the Israelites when they were hungry. They needed physical, so he gave them the bread. But reminds them it's not just the physical bread that you need, but my word. I'm going to make a confession. I don't read my Bible every day. Very sorry. I know that's bad. I know it's bad. I do my best. But I recognise that I make excuses. Very simple. I'm very good at making excuses. I haven't got time. I've got 2 kids. I've got a full-time job. I run an American football team. I run a football league. I'm involved in church. I make excuses all the time. I don't have time to read my Bible. Do you know what I do have time to do? Sit on Instagram for 2 hours a day and watch reels. Play on Facebook. Play Fortnite for several hours a week. Yeah. I'm very good at making excuses why I can't read my Bible and spend time with God every day. But it's very easy for me to stare at my phone, to stare at my computer, to stare at my screen, to do things that maybe are not nourishing me the best I could. So it's my challenge to myself, most importantly today, is to listen to this back and remind myself what I'm about to say. Hopefully it will challenge you as well. But this experience for me has been great to be able to recognise that I've got to the point where I've actually started to starve my spirit over time, where I've started to allow the excuses in. I've started to struggle a little bit with my temperament and just my inability to sit and just listen to God. So, how? How do we eat our daily bread? This is the applicational side. This is the bit that I'm quite a visual person. I need someone to say, oh, that's great, you're talking all this stuff, but what does this mean? This is the how for me. So, find a quiet space. Okay? I get that if you've got multiple kids, there is no quiet place in the house. You lock yourself in the toilet, they're still banging on the door. But try. Go for a walk. Take the dog out. Go sit in the car. Don't leave the kids on their own with someone safe. But find that place where you can get that peace, where you can just go, do you know what, for the next 5 minutes, here's the iPad, kids, off you go, or I just need to go and have my 5-minute, and please, because with the noisy world that we have, with our phones, with everything that's going on, there's always distraction, there's always noise. So just stop and find the time and go, do you know what, Lord, this is your time. This is your time for me and you to converse. Pray. Lord, I want to learn. I want to be fed by you. I want my spirit to be in tune with you. I want you to know that I'm here having a conversation with you. I'm here to learn. I'm here to listen. Read. The Bible is amazing. I've read it once, through in its entirety, but I've also read it a lot. And I was once told by someone that I really, really admire, and he said to me, you could read the Bible 100 times, and every single time you read it, it will say something different, something you won't notice, something you'll miss. There's something in there. You may think you know a passage, but you'll read it again and go, because where you are at in your life, where you are living day to day, things change. And when you read it, that passage might not be applicational for that day, but a different day, it means something. So when you see your reading and go, well, I know this passage, don't just skim through. Don't just read it quickly and go, I know this one. Read it. Read it again, because it will have a different meaning for you each day. Listen. Reading's great. We can sit and we can read, but that's not what God wants. He doesn't want us just to read the word and go. Once you've read, just stop. What has this passage said to me? What is God saying to me through this passage? How am I listening to his word? And then act. What does God want me to do? Am I now going to do what I've read? Am I now taking on board, or am I ticking a box that, yes, darling, I've done my Bible reading for the day. Yes, Lord, I've done what I need to do. Now I can get on with the real day. The challenge is that this is not just a part of the day. This is the day. This is what is fueling you for the day. This is what is sending you into work, with your friends, out with your family. This is the fuel to nourish your spiritual soul, to be with you, to lift you up into the day, to send you through in the day. So my challenge for today, if anything, is to remind you that we need to be refueling, not just our body, not just eating great food, drinking amazing drink, but also refueling our soul, refueling our relationship with God, giving him the time to fuel us, giving him the time to feed us, to lift us up, and to use us. The relationship we have with him is amazing, but it requires two parties. It's a relationship. Whenever anyone says to me, oh, you're religious, I go, no. I am in a relationship with the living God. This is a relationship, just like I have a relationship with my wife, with my children, my friends and family. It's a two-way relationship. It's not just all God down to me. I need to be able to stop, listen, converse, talk, pray, read, spend time with him. So my challenge for you is, how often are you refueling? If you are doing it every day, fantastic. Are you reading and reading and reading the verses over and over? Are you praying? Are you listening? Are you allowing all those times? And then hopefully you'll be refueled. Hopefully you'll feel nourished. Hopefully you'll feel lifted up. And hopefully that spiritual starvation that can creep in, that we don't realise is creeping in, will go away. Thank you.